Anytime compensation is discussed, our eyes naturally drift to the bottom line. But is how much the only part of an option contract to be concerned about before we sign? Hi all, Hank from Write the Reel here. Recently I had the privilege of speaking with a producer that wanted to option one of my newer scripts. Privilege quickly turned to confusion with the mutually beneficial conversation we had over the phone, resulting in an option agreement that felt more like indentured servitude. Not wanting the same thing to happen to you, after we checked the option price, then purchase price, what else should we look for? Number 5. First right of refusal on sequels. You've beaten the odds on optioning your script, and now it's an even longer shot that your script will make it to the big screen. However, movies get made all the time, and with Hollywood loving existing audiences, if your story turns even a small profit, the producer will start thinking sequel. But who gets to write it? Audiences paid real money to experience the world plucked straight out of your imagination, so of course you want to be asked. But what does it say in the agreement? Note, along these lines, push for clarification on any compensation for TV, based on, etc. More often than not, first-time writers don't get a piece of that pie, but it never hurts to ask. Politely. Number 4. Option duration. Anything over a year and you should raise an eyebrow. In fact, if you're brave enough, ask if there's a specific reason for that length of time. 12 months is decent, but 6 months is better. Realize it takes time to build the momentum needed to secure a director, financing, cast, etc., and pieces won't fall into place as fast as you'd hope. As long as progress is being made, you're good, and there will also be clauses that allow the option to be extended for another fee should development run longer than expected. Like most business ideas, though, people are always really excited in the beginning, and nothing foreseeable can go wrong early on. If you pass that 6-month mark, though, and the producer lags to reply to your emails, doesn't answer your calls, or the project stalls, chances are your script is dead. Be prepared for that scenario, realizing it's not the end of the world. Don't give away extra time at your own expense. Sure, it sucks, but focus on the positive. You optioned a script and can now add that little fun fact to your resume. Want to re-option it? Change the title, make use of the revisions that you were given during the option duration, move on to pitching it with your new scripts. Note, reference the fact that you've optioned screenplays in the past, but do not query, pitch, saying, this work was previously optioned, because no matter what went wrong, the new person you're trying to pitch to will be wary of that project. Number 3, doing it my way does not translate to going it alone. Frank Sinatra might have done it his way, but he had a team with him along for the ride. So should you. Don't have an agent when an option is presented? Ask the producer for suggestions. Legitimate professionals generally have a contact or two. That doesn't work, or you just want an educated brain to break down all the legalese for you? Hire an entertainment attorney. Sure, it may cost you $100 or more, but this is a business agreement you're about to enter into. Not having things spelled out beforehand is a bad idea, and may cost you more money in the long run. Rule of thumb, the dumbest question really is the one you don't ask, so sacrifice your pride for peace of mind, clearing up any potential issues. Contracts generally spell things out, and before you decide whether or not it's in your favor, you need to completely understand it. Number 2, exclusive writing or consulting services. The producer is hiring you to more or less be a writing consultant. As changes are suggested, it's your job to incorporate them into your story. Sometimes even if you don't agree with said changes, but remember, you're being paid. But here's where I respectfully disagree with some professionals. I shouldn't be writing for anyone exclusively. Even as I make this video, I have multiple plates spinning around me, most of which contribute to my income in some way, shape, or form. To suggest I can't multitask is insulting. Producers are generally actively developing multiple projects, so why shouldn't we be allowed to do the same? I'm grateful to anyone who's interested enough in my writing to consider paying me for it, and as rewrites are assigned to me, I always deliver in a timely manner, generally less than a week or two, depending on the severity. But to require my undivided attention, that will cost you. Am I blowing this out of proportion? Probably, but based on that previous agreement I referenced when starting this video, writers should never sell themselves short. Maybe the reason artists starve is because they're bad business people. Corporations have agreements called IP assignment agreements, work assignment agreements, etc. My argument is this. You work for a company like Apple in product development. You give Apple innovative new ideas. Apple pays you a salary. You sign an agreement saying any ideas you develop while working at Apple are the intellectual property of the company. but that's a salary, and it's not the same as an option. Be careful here. If you feel the fee being paid to you is greater than or equal to your self-worth or time, then it's not an issue. Sign the contract. However, if you're curious what happens if you accept the option when producer Y for script A, but during that option period, another producer, producer Z, wants to option your other script B, clarify it with a professional, preferably a lawyer. Number 1. Rights and revisions revert back to the writer. Aside from being a bad attempt at alliteration, this is probably the most important thing to confirm is in the option. What happens to your script if it never gets purchased and the option expires? For me, I thought it went without saying. I wrote the script, I made the revisions, I should keep it all. More often than not, yes. But if it doesn't explicitly say the rights come back to you, or that it actually says the producer keeps them, you may want to discuss and ask your agent, lawyer, to discuss a counteroffer granting your intellectual property comes back to you. Protect yourself and your work. None of these issues mean a definite yes or no, but you need to clearly understand the offer before you accept or reject it. So there you have it, 5 things other than money you should consider before optioning your script. Did we miss any others? Use the comments to tell us what we missed, along with your suggestions on future videos. Subscribe if this video helped and please like it, and then stop by writetoreel.com to jump into more screenwriting discussions. And lastly, write your butts off.